And I just want to say, guys, I was right. Okay? I just want to say, because I got a lot of hate for a video we did. I don't know if you remember, like a month, 2 months ago. This little clip got a lot of hate because they're like, you don't know what you're talking about, da 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 da. And I'm like, all right, look, all I'm saying is what I see in the chart. I'm not Nostradamus. If the chart is saying it's still bearish, no matter what you want to happen, your happy juice that you're drinking, right?
Right.
And your green bean that you're smoking.
Right.
The fact is, if things are bearish and they're playing out in technicals, I don't want it to. I have a lot of SoFi stock. I want it to go to the moon. Okay, but when I see that there's like resistance happening at this level, which was around 21, 22, I'm like, look, we really have to make a clear breakout. That's what I was saying. And let me play it.
Play the clip and then react.
I might hit this 21, 22 and just go right back into the range it was at between 15 and 18 bucks. So that's what I expect to happen. I hope I'm wrong because I do have a lot of shares. I hope I'm wrong, but if I'm not, then I'm willing to buy more shares at around 15, 16 bucks. Maybe even 17 bucks. The last bit is the RSI actually did break out. So you guys can watch it. We'll put a link up there and we'll put a link down there to watch the whole video to see, look, I'm not Nostradamus. I don't know what's going to happen, but if things are behaving with technicals, and in fact, look, it went right past 21, 22. It hit its resistance at 24. It actually got up that high. I wasn't even watching it.
Yeah.
And it completely collapsed. And this was even before the whole scare in the last couple of days and the market tanking.
For the new cooties.
The new cooties and the interest
The new
rates.
cooties.
This all happened in this past week. It started tanking basically right at 24, 25. And I didn't even think it'd make it that high. I thought 21, 22, 23 maybe, and then it starts collapsing.
Support, right.
But look, it pumped. It found its previous sort of resistance, and it said, you know what, I'm willing to go up that high, but I'm not willing to go anymore. And the technicals were screaming it wasn't going to go that high. Like, what did they think was going to happen? It was going to 40 bucks? I don't know what people thought was going to happen.
Can you grid out how far are those peaks? How many bars? How many days?
So
how
this
far
from
is
here
it from peak to peak?
From here to here was 166 days.
What was the previous one? Just like
125 days, but I would say around 5-6 months. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So every
months.
5 or 6 months we're on a roller coaster, and right now the dips come early.
Okay, once again, I'm not a technical expert, but this is on a clear downtrend. They're losing money. I just look at the facts of the situation. I wanted to moon. I have my shares already. And I bought more when it went to 15 just because I'm like, that's a good price, right? So you have to buy more when it's a good price. And so at 15, I was like, okay, it's back to being reasonable. Look, there's clearly support here at 1382. And in fact, in this market, why wouldn't it go back to 10? Give me one good reason why we wouldn't see it at 10, besides that I love SoFi.
No, I mean, I just want to say just in general that this is something that happens every year. In general, this is why they call it a Santa Claus rally, which will usually happen at the end of the year. Because what you're seeing now also is the effects of things like tax loss harvesting. People
this is not a Santa Claus rally. This is the opposite of a Santa Claus rally.
But the Santa Claus rally, the reason why that happens cyclically every year is because before that you have these people that are basically baking in their losses for the year. It's a way of offsetting the gains that they want. It's also like if you're sitting in this position and it's been bleeding for months, you're finally just over it. And you figure at least it's going to offset some of your gains. Then when it settles down, say the week of Christmas, what happens typically the week of between Christmas and New Year's, we get that rally. So this is all falling in line with things that typically happen every year, but it's like every year that it happens, people feel like it's the end of the world. It's like every year here, the mountains in California burn. Every year, the whole mountain burns. But every year they act so surprised that that mountain's on fire. It's like,
right, how did that happen?
Right, it's like we forget about it because by spring it's all covered in green and the animals back again. And then when it catches on fire, it's like, it's apocalyptic again, and we start talking about how we should do something.
So are you saying humans are dumb?
I'm saying no. What I'm saying is humans have really short memory, and the more this is without green bean.
We're like ants. We remember for like 1 month.
Literally, it's a quarter. Like we remember 1 quarter. Right. You know,
not even a quarter. I think it's like a week.
Season.
1 week. So I'm gonna go back to this because this is so important that. I'm buying. Like, this is the time when everybody over here is like yelling buy, by the way. Everybody. Like, what is it? The stock twits, following the Reddit community. Yeah. They're all yelling at me because I'm an imbecile who doesn't understand anything about the markets.
You know that. That's the FOMO. People
I know, but it's like, dude, wake up. Like, there is no reason for this company at this point, no matter how good it is and how much I love it, to go to the moon. There's no point for it to go to 40 bucks. There just isn't.
40 bucks, yeah.
Like, what? There is no real reason. Wait till the bank charter, and I will talk about that. Let them get that. Everybody's planning for what's going to happen, but the problem is when you buy the rumor, you're supposed to sell the news, right? So in this case, people bought the rumor and just sold out right at resistance. Forget about the news. They didn't even wait for that.
Right.
Like literally right at the resistance, it tanked. And look at this tank straight down. That means all of this was FOMO. Literally from 15 bucks straight up, FOMO.
But
That's it.
it's also happening in 5 to 6 month regular cycles. This is happening
Right.
every 5 6 months. You're getting a move, a $5 move.
The next one, I don't know if it'll make it that high, but this is a good short-term play. So if we were to go, let's say it hangs somewhere around 13, 14, and it pumps back up. Let's say around here, 150 days. That's fine.
So that puts you in April.
April 2022. Yeah, but that means, by the way, which is not great, that means that we're going to hit around $18 because unless there's like the bank charter, if that happens, we can go to the moon. Yes, because that's going to change some things. And I'll go into an article why it's going to change some things. That actually makes a lot of sense. But if it doesn't happen by April 2022, it's probably going to hit around 18 bucks. Maybe it'll pump a little bit higher. Who knows? 19 bucks. But there is no reason until the bank charter clears for it to go onto the moon like everybody wants.
That yellow line that you have of the downtrend isn't exactly accurate though, because it's if you're just tracking the peaks, it's actually a lot more horizontal.
It did break through, but it's still touching enough points here, and there. It's touched 3 points already. So
I'm just saying you can put a line across the top 3 peaks and you can see that it's not as slope. I do want to share something. See what you think of this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because this stocks like this, they trade. I agree with your overall long-term trend. We might be in disagreement of how seesawed the peaks are, but this is interesting. I just drew these lines. What do you think of this?
Only if you have a moon in your line will I pay attention.
Oh no, this is to the moon. This is how it overtakes Tesla.
Right, exactly. Right. This is how you beat Tesla.
This is how it overtakes Tesla. No, so here's what we got. I'll have to make it a little bit bigger. But I believe like with these kinds of stocks, like this, like these smaller market cap stocks, I do like to look at like long-term trends, but I also feel like they're more subjected to like 30-day trends, 60-day trends. And so I try to look for trends even within that. This is me drawing the same chart that we were just looking at, but with the peaks sort of following these 3. Now, whether you think it's up here and coming down more at an angle. My point is, I still feel like the last 2 lines I drew on this chart were here. This is Sofi's chart a while back, and I was looking at what looked like we were in, sort of a channel where an inflection point where the stock needs to make a choice, and it did. I mean, it literally predicted it almost to the day.
Yeah,
it was like September 29th, and boom,
right,
what do we have?
Within the larger trends, you're right. There's these smaller trends where we can trade. We can actually trade these.
And this is part of why the stock is so volatile at these prices, right? So I'm just looking, and I just snap these other 2 lines here where I say, this to me looks like a trend as well, right? We got a series of candles that are in a staircase pattern on the upside, and we see here a previous level of this was a previous level of support. It failed.
It tried to hold something, but it immediately
tried to hold
collapsed.
some of these previous levels, and it collapsed. Yeah. So it looks to me, okay, now these are collapse points, right? But it's to say at any point it could get back in one of these channels. These are like little channels that it could trade in, even if it's just side.
Well, we talked about this. So let's say even your trend is right. So it's going basically up to around $22, $23 again. And once again, I'm not holding the stock to make a double on it. Like there's no point to hold a stock. Go buy PayPal. Okay, we've talked about this. Go buy Facebook, dude. If you want to double, I'm holding the stock to make a 10x.
And that's worth saying. And that's worth saying it like officially. Like these stocks are stocks where the minimum you want is a 4x because you did catch it so low, you took so much risk, and the amount of capital you have to put for that risk, you're invariably taking on enough risk where
huge amount of
4x
risk
is needed to make that worthwhile. If you want the safe 2x, you're right. You can just put your money in Facebook and just don't even look at the stock price. Just buy it every week.
Just DCA that.
Apple, buy it every week. Microsoft, buy it every week. Just keep buying them every week, and you'll be okay with that. But if you're
5 years from now, you look at your portfolio, everything has 2, maybe 3x if we're real lucky, and that's it. That's how you keep. When you're a multimillionaire, that's how you keep your millions. By the way. That's what you do.
But until then,
when you're trying to build a position, that's why we buy Bitcoin and Ethereum and SoFi and SNDL and FUV, because we want one of those to 10x. Okay, this is why we buy them. But I just hate the unreality these people have. If you said 3 to 5 years, $50, absolutely, why not? We haven't seen the bottom of this yet. So if the market is still negative, look, you can bleed. We can bleed. Look, can we go back to $12? Can we go back to $10? Why not? If the market is selling off, tell me why. Give me one reason why this can't go to $12.
Well, there is no reason.
There is no reason, right? So everybody
There's no
thinks that
reason
there's a
because
reason.
there's no catalyst. It's very much like SNDL. It's very much like FUV, where you're waiting on these catalysts that you know are
Right.
there, are not there, and you don't know the time frame. That looks like a chart of a company with a very uncertain future, with people that are really bullish against it versus people that are really bearish against it. And you can see when there's some good news or when it's come down too much, the bulls buy it up because they feel it's a good deal. When it's run up too much and people get scared of holding that position, they sell it off. And this could continue for a long time, for all of next year.
I do see a scenario where if they don't have any positive catalysts, like the bank chart, I keep going back to that,
Yeah.
that we can play this out until October. Like we can play this. That's what the chart is saying. Like basic, even if I'm wrong in this particular thing, let's say we bring it up somewhere here, whatever.
Right.
You're still talking about a long period of like this sideways movement at $15, like this long period. So everybody who thinks it's going to $40 tomorrow, unless they release some amazing news, there is no reason for this to go there.
Right.
There's absolutely no reason.
There's no amount of stock twits that's gonna pump.
Yeah. So, but let me put it on the positive now. I am buying the stock, understanding that. Like this is what I keep talking to investors out there. Why don't you just accept reality, buy it, hold it, like we're doing with SNDL we just talked about,
Yeah.
and just know where you're in the cycle. Know
Yeah.
what cycle you're in. I'm in the cycle of hold. Hold the line. Okay,
Right.
that's the
Right.
cycle.
It's
and
the most
wait the
boring.
year.
It's the most boring part. You either want to be buying or selling. That's the exciting part. But
Right.
this is the boring part where you're
It
just
is.
holding on your money, and this is where you find out.
Or accumulating.
how
That's
convic-
boring too.
Right,
Accumulation
or
is boring
accumulate. Yeah,
too.
just continue to buy. When it's bleeding on you, you keep buying.
Yeah.
This is the hard part. This is the hard part of it, and this is where you find out how convicted you are in the stock, because there might be a day where you might either just sell out of it because you're just done, like with the drama, or you might find a deal in another company that has come down even more, and that's where you have to weigh them against each other. These are actually really good for you to go through. If you've been watching markets even just this last year, it should have humbled you by now and let you know that what you think you know,
Many people
you
are
don't
not
always
humbled.
know, and it can turn on you for things that you could not even factor into your model.
Right. And look, it's about hold the line, like we talked about. If you didn't hold Amazon and you didn't hold Tesla and you didn't wait the decade, you would have never got those gains. You
Yeah,
would have
you
never
wouldn't
made your
have gotten
100x.
the 50,000.
It would have never happened. So this could be one of those 10, 20, 30x's, but honestly, it's going to be a long road. Anyone who thinks this is not the 5 to 10 year road, you are dreaming. Like you're absolutely in a dreamland and you're in the wrong channel. This is not Dreamland channel. This is Reality 101, baby.
Yeah, right. We're seeing a lot of industries being disrupted right now, and what people don't realize is when that disruption hits, the adaptation is so fast, like it makes your head spin, right? So I mean, just look at what's happening with EVs. Now you apply that to FinTech and everyone just wanting to bank and do everything online. Like everybody wants to do everything online.
Right.
The amount of customers that are going to come to that, if you have to be in there for when that happens, because once it builds its base, then it's like the traditional banking industry, right? And like I'm not rushing out to buy JP Morgan right now, right? But
Well, yeah. So remember that Tom Lee interview? I'm not going to put it out here, but there's a great interview, and I'll link it down there, when he says the millennials basically are the next, that's their next decade.
Yeah.
So all these old boomers who are still using Wells Fargo, like me, honestly,
Yeah.
who still have bank accounts in these old stodgy places, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. If you're a 20-something-year-old, are you opening up your bank, going to Wells Fargo to sit down to talk to some guy to open up a bank account? Of course you're not. Like,
No.
you're not even thinking about that. So you're trying to find some site like Robinhood or Sofi. PayPal is probably one of those. And
just today, before we got on and did this podcast, a buddy of mine called me and told me I bought Bitcoin for the first time. I was like, oh, congrats. We were talking about it months ago. And I says, well, what made you do that? He was like, I've been seeing this ad on Venmo for the last couple of months, and
wow.
he's a landlord and collects his rent checks through Venmo. And he's like, today I just saw an ad popped up again, but purchase crypto through Venmo. He's like, they only have 4: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. He's like, so Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin had the lowest prices, so I threw $100 in there. I said, okay, don't go crazy now, but
right.
he still.
Did you tell me he's buying the wrong ones?
No. I mean, I had a little bit of the conversation with him. But
Bitcoin Cash, Jesus. Okay.
But the point is, this is a guy who, he's later 40s and just saw the ad for so many months. He goes, I remember seeing that ad 6 months ago, like in June, July, and I just kept, just ignoring it. But like, it's starting to penetrate. Like a lot of this come over to the digital side. They're just getting more comfortable with it. Now, he's not the millennial generation, but
Right.
if he who I know to be one of the most conservative people I know, is buying cryptocurrency on
Right.
Venmo.
It's amazing.
What are millennials doing? I don't know. Millennials are not opening Chase accounts and other banks. They're
Well,
looking
yeah,
at
so we are giving the bull case for something like SoFi because a millennial or anyone coming up now in the generation, my kids, they are not going to go to Wells Fargo like I did and sit with somebody and try to open up a bank account.
right.
Like who's thinking about doing that? And I'm not saying Wells Fargo is not going to do an online thing and they're going to make it better, but no, it's so much easier to go to SoFi, 5 minutes open an account,
Right.
5 seconds later you're trading, you're buying stocks. They fund you right away. You put money in, they'll fund you right away. They
Yeah.
go ahead, buy some stocks.
Yeah.
Go ahead, buy some crypto.
I mean, Venmo
Like
has that thing where if you do direct deposit, they give you your check 2 days early. So it
there's,
doesn't even
there's
come in. They just say, "We'll give you the money."
they want 24/7 access right now, and these platforms like SoFi, like PayPal, they're all giving it to them. So, and it's weird that the incumbents, the legacy players, are not doing any of this correctly. It is so weird. It's the same thing with Tesla. Like, how is it possible that you're watching this company for 10 years and totally ignoring them
Yeah.
until it's too late? It's the same way. They're just ignoring SoFi. They think it's nothing. They think Venmo's nothing. They think PayPal's nothing.
Yeah.
We're just going to ignore them. It's going to go away. Close your eyes. It's going to go away. Please,
Yeah.
please, please, please. That's what I feel is going on.
Yeah, absolutely. The new generation of people coming into this space are more comfortable with their money being digitally. They don't trust the legacy people. And that means that even if they do revamp their services and try to modernize it, it doesn't mean that it's going to it doesn't mean that they're going to have the customers. It's like the legacy automakers thinking they're going to make electric vehicles and people will automatically buy them. It doesn't necessarily mean that.
No.
They're just a different customer looking for different things, and they might not have their head around it.
So I just want to show this real quick. So PayPal market cap, $216 billion. You're like, okay, that's a big market cap. How does that actually relate to a bank? Wells Fargo. We always compare that. We should beat Wells Fargo's because that's the worst one, right? That's the worst bank basically. 190 billion. So even right now, PayPal, which is way younger, is already destroying Wells Fargo in terms of market cap. Not by much. And they were earlier this year, by the way. They fell 30, 40%. They were at 300 billion. Now let's look at SoFi. If we go back to there, if they do succeed in some respect, we're talking about a $12 billion company. They have to get to over 100 billion to actually be a significant player in this. Can they 5, 6, 7x? I
Right.
think yes. I think right now they're not going to do that. Can they do this over the long term? I see no reason why they can't, and this is why I'm investing in SoFi. That it's only 12 billion bucks. Can it be a $100 billion company in 5 to 10 years? I see no reason why they can't.
Yeah, it reminds me of the adaptation S curve, right? There's a point where
Right.
you're at price parity. Now we're just talking market caps right now, but if the market caps of these two companies are at price parity, PayPal's future, SoFi's future is on the way up. They're hitting this market cap on the way up, while Wells Fargo is hitting this on the way down. So this could be the year where, we're basically sitting right here. You see this adaptation curve when you talk about EVs, but it's not to say that that's not what's happening here in terms of valuations of these companies. We're now,
They're crisscrossing now. Yeah.
yeah,
And
Wells Fargo's on its way down.
the only reason, by the way, I do have JPM and Wells Fargo and Citibank. I do have them in my dividend portfolio.
Right. The
I'm
day
out.
they cancel that dividend, that money comes out and it goes into SoFi or PayPal.
Oh,
If you want to
absolutely.
keep it in the banking, right, and say that pie
Yeah,
of
but right. Basically, I like the banking industry. JPM right now pays a dividend, so I'll keep some money there because they do pay a dividend. I consider that position like cash
bribe. It's them bribing you to
keep their stock.
They're like, listen, we'll just throw a little bit on the top. Here's a couple more shares. I know, don't tell nobody.
No, but my point is, if any good deal comes up, which it's possibly coming out because these growth stocks are getting wrecked.
Yeah.
So what do? I'm reaching into my dividend portfolio to pull out some money for companies that I think are being undervalued right now,
Yeah.
but in the 3-4 year timeline will not be undervalued. I just want to show why I'm bullish on SoFi. We'll do this quick. Look, 2020, 565 million revenue. 2021, 870 million. SoFi's already announced that they're going to have a good fourth quarter, which might be
Right.
more than this number. So, but I'm leaving this number on. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So 870 million approximately this year. Could be more, honestly, and they've said they're going to have a good quarter. Minus 565 million. That means a profit of 305 million. So if you look at the growth divided it by the 565, it's 53% growth year over year. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I can go into Wells Fargo's numbers, but it's not
I wouldn't know.
53% growth.
I don't. Would it even be? It would maybe be just double digits, maybe 10, 12%.
There's two things, Galileo and the bank charter.
Yeah.
So this bank charter, the reason it's important, this clearly says it. The effect of SoFi's margins is the easiest to quantify. Owning a bank charter allows SoFi to use their deposits to finance their own loans. How big would that be? The
Yeah.
deposits come in, they could use that money to give to loans and make interest on it. Amazing, like a regular bank, right?
Yeah.
Lending is SoFi's biggest source of revenue and profits. Right now, they have to borrow money from third-party banks to finance the majority of their loans. These third-party banks charge somewhere between 2 and 2.5% interest to use their money. So as soon as SoFi obtains a bank charter, they can use the deposits from the members to finance those loans, thereby making an extra 2.5%.
Right.
And as that business grows, I don't even have to read anymore. If this happens, this is a real catalyst.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's a real catalyst because they have to charge a percentage on top of that so that they can make a profit. So the minimum that they could charge on a loan is 2.5%.
Here's an article from The Street. SoFi reported earnings per share that topped consensus by a penny and revenue that beat by 21.5 million. Okay, so that was one reason. So the members are increasing. Q3 2021, look, they have almost 3 million members. They grew basically 100% over the last year.
Over the last year, yeah.
They're actually growing everything we're talking about as their stock tanks. Fundamentals are important here.
Yeah.
But even I know the stock could tank. But you as an investor have to be like, should I buy it as it tanks or shouldn't I?
Right.
Do you believe? My bull case is not just the bank charter. This Galileo thing where other fintechs are using this platform is the real bull case here, besides the bank charter. Galileo is a global payment processing platform that SoFi acquired at $1.2 billion deal, which is an amazing deal, by the way.
Yeah.
Since Q1 of 2019, Galileo accounts have been growing sharply at a pace of 80% in Q3 and have recently reached 89 million accounts. Look at this growth, dude. This is an S-curve happening.
Sometimes the technicals and the fundamentals get really disconnected, and it can be in your favor. It really can be in your favor if the fundamentals are really strong, but the technicals just don't seem to add up. It doesn't always mean that you're not seeing something. Sometimes it means that the market really is disconnected from it and just not valuing it correctly.
What you're saying is 100% right. If I'm not selling SoFi at $15, which I'm not,
Right.
do I care if it goes down to $10? As long as they don't go out of business, of course. They have to stay in business, obviously. But do I care? Of course I don't. I want it at $10, okay? Yeah. Because then I can get like 50% more shares for the same money, right? Instead of paying 15, I get to pay 10. So everybody out there wanting these moon boys to go up, dude, why don't you want this at $10 if you think it's going to $50? Because you don't actually believe.
It's funny because wanting it to be at $10 is if you want to buy more is actually bullish. You're saying I want to accumulate more of the shares, yet any talk of the stock price going down from where it is just seen as like, why are you trash talking it? Who's paying you to trash on SoFi? I mean,
right.
Comments. It's like the stock market wasn't waiting for you to buy, and then like the CEO's like, did he buy? Okay, good. Pump the stock. It's not like they're not waiting for you. And so just keep in mind, you're getting in on a moving train.
At this price, it's a good price, and yes, it could go down to $12 or 10 or whatever happens with the market. I don't know, but this is one of those positions that as soon as they actually have real positive news, I don't care if it's a down market, you're going to watch this stock actually go to the moon. But until then, dude, you're going to be sitting here a whole year of just like twiddling your thumbs waiting for this to happen. So all these moon boys on YouTube, you're wrong.
So if you're a moon boy right now, subscribe to the channel so you can yell at Vitaly on every video we post. Not even the SoFi videos. We do other videos, and you can dislike and write negative comments to him on all of those, and he'll engage you. He gets mad at these comments, and he'll write you back.
Yes, and go ahead, write me that I'm a total idiot, but give me a good me a good point why I am.
Right.
Make a case for it. Don't just write that you're an idiot and you're the moon boy, and that's all it is, because that's not going to help you, right? I don't think so.
No.
All right, like and subscribe. We love you.
Like and subscribe, or Vitaly will order a pizza to your house.